I'm here with Darren.
My belt doesn't fit me anymore. I keep putting my trousers.
So I've seen your licence.
Darren has come all the way from Ireland, although you would never know it from his accent.
Yeah, the accent's not quite Irish, is it? 23 years of Irish, this is.
And can you read the number plate on the back of that?
The one that's just planning to
Yeah.
learn it. BK21 JVC.
Where are you from originally?
Originally from Birmingham, so originally I speak like this because I'm a Brummie.
He's a Brummie. Darren has contacted me through Instagram. Now, I'm going to put my Instagram down here straight away. If you are interested in doing either a mock test, follow me on Instagram, send me a DM, and we can talk about it. That's exactly what we did, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
Basically, I want to see how I do with the driving instructor test. I haven't took a driving instruction test for 30 plus years. But now I'm looking to get into driving instruction because my daughter is learning to drive, but me being able to teach her. So I couldn't teach her as a parent. And I went, maybe I could do this as a driving instructor.
We're going to be doing a part 2 mock test. So this is a high level test for anybody out there who doesn't know what that is. That is the second test in order to qualify as a driving instructor. Have you had any training?
That's going to be my excuse, isn't it? That's when I'm bringing out a book of excuses. This is my excuse now. No training at all. I haven't took a lesson in 20, 30 years. I have pretty much watched all your videos.
Good idea.
I was watching all your videos. I've watched a few other people's videos. I've been practicing a little bit because I haven't been driving much. Work from home at the moment, so I haven't been driving as much as I used to. I'm using you to find out where I am so I can plan what I have to do work-wise to get to the level to pass it.
Do you know what a part 2 entails?
No, not at all.
Okay, so you're going to be driving for about an hour. At all times, follow the road ahead, unless I tell you to turn left or turn right, unless road signs indicate otherwise. We're going to take in 2 reversing manoeuvres, possibly an emergency stop if it's very likely, and you're going to be driving independently on the sat-nav for about 20 minutes.
Right, okay.
Just like always, like, comment and subscribe because it really does boost the video, pushes out to a wider audience, and if you think somebody would benefit from content like this, then share it with them.
There's going to be a button here, somewhere there. Yeah.
Somewhere. Or there'll be some graphics because I always do some sort of graphics. Tell me where you would get the information for the recommended tyre pressure for your car.
Oh, it's in the door.
How would you check it?
In the door frame. You can check it online in the manual, but normally it's in your door sign there, and it tells you front and back, and it tells you loaded and unloaded and your pressures that way.
I just realised I had my window open that entire time. Any other information?
Any other information? How you can tell the recommended tyre pressures?
And how would you check them?
Oh, you check them you can check them in a garage with a pressure gauge, with the pressure machine. How else would you check tyre pressures? You've got to check it with a gauge. I can't think of any other way of doing it. I mean,
no, that is right.
Yeah, you can see if they're flat. That's the one that people don't look at. They don't check the tyres.
In the UK,
yeah,
if you get one of these wrong, it goes down as a driver fault.
Okay.
And how many driver faults are you allowed? On this test, you're allowed 6.
6 total.
And you've got to drive for an hour.
Okay.
So if you start picking up driver faults with your tell me questions, can you imagine?
Yeah, it's going to be hard.
You really don't want to be you don't want to be picking. So you learn these like through and through. Now you obviously you're coming from Ireland. I don't know what the tell me questions are. If they have those,
probably around the same. Yeah.
Now you've pretty much answered that question properly, but there's a few bits of information. Yes. So when would you check them? What temperature? Hot or cold?
Oh, cold before you drive.
Always check them when they're cold, and don't forget to fit the
dust cap. Stop getting in tiger flat.
How many tyres you got?
5. 1 in the boot, 4 in the car.
Don't forget the spare.
Yeah.
So you would want to make sure that you're getting all that information in, okay?
Yeah.
Tell me how you adjust your head restraint to give you the best protection in the event of a crash.
It's meant to be, I believe, the middle of your head's kind of eye level. The middle of it's eye level, I believe.
Okay, that's fine. That'll do. The rigid part must be at least as high as your eye and your ear, as close to the back of your head as possible.
Okay.
Bear in mind they don't always tilt. And how would you check that your brake lights were working properly?
You can ask somebody to check when you're doing it, when they press the brakes. You can get them to press the brakes to check. You can look in a reflection. So in the garage, they have mirrored things in a lot of the garages.
That's it. Okay, when we see you next, we'll be starting the test. All right, Darren. So whenever you are ready, start your engine, please. Drive on when it's safe to do so.
The first 5 minutes of a test is crucial. It gives me an idea if they know what they're doing. And Darren seems to. And before you say anything, I know what you're thinking. My front camera is wonky. My OCD is going through the roof.
And then you're going to take the next road on the right-hand side.
Darren's speed is moderate through this section of road. He's below speed limit. He checks mirrors and signals well for this junction.
There's way too many parked cars around here.
He then handles this meeting situation well.
They're going to stop for us then, thank you very much.
And then you're going to take this next road on the right.
And again checks both mirrors and signals well for this junction.
Now, this is where I'm trying to remember checking my mirrors.
So far, so good.
And then at the end of the road, turn right for me, please.
After turning right on this junction, Darren makes his first mistake. He's confused about what the speed limit
That was
is.
funny, because I was trying to figure out where the end of the road was. There's an end of a road?
And in all likelihood, because he's distracted, he's missed this sign.
What's lovely there is, I've just seen that's a 30 sign. So I'm kind of really hoping this is the 30. There we go.
It's only for a short stretch, but Darren picks up speed. And it's only now he's entering the 30 zone. This unfortunately is enough to pick up a serious fault for use of speed. Some of you may wonder why I didn't intervene, and it's simply because it just wasn't for that long. At this next roundabout, he again makes a little mistake.
Your brakes on this are extremely sharp.
They're good, aren't they?
Yeah.
At the roundabout, turn right, please.
He checks mirrors, signals and positions well, but gets slightly caught out and pauses in the junction.
Oh, I thought that mini was going to go across the front of us.
He doesn't majorly impact anyone, and it's rather minor. But this is a driver fault for turning right.
And then I'm going to get you to take the next road on the left, which is into a car park.
And now Darren has his first manoeuvre. We're going to do the forwards Bay Park.
You have some kind of weird braking on this, like hybrid braking.
It is a mild hybrid.
Yeah. So when you take your foot off, it feels like you're braking.
It does a little bit of braking for you.
Darren has to do a correction, so this would pick up a driver fault for not getting it done first time, but he also struggles to find reverse when he's backing out of the bay.
Okay, so what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to do a forwards bay park into any bay, left or right, finishing off in between the lines.
Forward.
Forwards bay park.
Okay.
I always think it's a bit harsh to give a driver fault if they need to do a correction, but they can give it to you on the day, so it's just the way it is.
It's the little ones.
He does, however, even on this correction, do a good full all-round check.
Okay, and now, you happy with that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Can't really see the lines. If I open the door, I could tell you. There's one line.
You okay with that? You happy with that?
Yeah, I'm going to be close enough.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's have a look.
It's fine.
Yeah, we're
Okay,
good.
so I'd like you to reverse the car out in a position to drive on.
I have to say, if I owned this car park, I'd just ban learner drivers.
Oh, that's a bit harsh.
Where would they practice then?
Well, not my car park.
This is a railway.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a station.
They need to repaint the lines.
They do.
Darren is a little bit distracted, and this is where he makes a mistake. When he goes to put it in gear, he puts it in 6, and the car lurches forwards instead of backwards.
Oh. Sorry, my friend. You know what I did there, didn't you? I had it in 6th.
Yes, you did.
There's a fault.
It's not your car though, is it?
It's not my car, but 6th is a bit of a silly one.
Anybody can make a mistake, it's just the way it is. But make sure you stay focused when it's your real test. The rest of this reverse though is bang on. He's doing full all-round effective observation and now has good control of his car.
And then just follow the signs to the exit, please.
That's the nerves.
It happens.
Oh, my friend. No.
It totally happens. And at the end of this road here, turn left, please.
The next few junctions Darren manages well without picking up any major problems. And then shortly we pull up to start the independent drive.
And at the roundabout, you're going to follow the road ahead.
He does signal to exit this mini roundabout, which is completely unnecessary, but it's not a fault, just not needed. And then gets a little close to this vehicle in front. But it's not for long, so it's just not noteworthy.
And then at the roundabout, turn left, please.
He then checks both mirrors and then signals, a little late, but not enough to affect anybody, and then deals with this roundabout well.
What I keep forgetting to look for is speed signs.
And then we're going to take the next road on the left, which is just around the bend.
And again, good mirrors and signal.
And then I'd like you to find somewhere to pull up on the left in a safe place once we've gone around this bend.
Darren finds a suitable spot, and we're now about to start the independent drive.
So we're going
Right.
to be following the sat-nav now for approximately 20 minutes.
You will arrive at your destination at 1:34 p.m.
That's a challenge, or is that a fact? That's the problem with sat-navs. You will arrive at this time. I'm going to arrive quicker. No, you're not. Come on.
Whenever you are ready,
She starts again.
drive on.
So in my brain, I'm going, right, make sure you check your mirrors, your blind spots, you're indicating and you're in gear. That's pretty much what I'm thinking. There's nobody around me. Definitely nobody around me and nothing coming up the road.
At the end of the road, turn right, then go left on the roundabout and take the second exit.
Turn right, left on the roundabout, take the second right, okay. I hate sat-navs.
I think it's pretty clear Darren's not a fan. And again, he gets a little bit close to the vehicle in
Turn
front.
right, then go left on the roundabout and take the second
I am
exit.
turning right, please be quiet.
It's only for a moment, so again, in this case, it's not noteworthy. The sat-nav now gives a bit of a confusing route direction, but Darren knows what he's doing.
Go left on the roundabout and take the second exit.
That's straight on, by the way.
He correctly picks the left-hand lane. This roundabout can be very tricky because it's got keep clears across pretty much the mouth of the junction. But Darren gets lucky, and he does well here.
Now, I recognise this from your videos. But also, when you look at it now, I'm going, damn, which lane do I have to get into? That one, and the light's changing. Okay. Nobody there. Happy days.
He's lucky because simply nobody coming from his right-hand side took up the spaces, so he moves nicely into the left-hand lane. On this stretch of road, Darren gets caught out slightly by speed, picking his speed up to around 35 miles an hour. He does drop the speed back down again, but he does sustain it for a bit too long.
No, don't have to set your sat-nav. I should have done that earlier.
Sat-nav?
Right, sat-nav, your me now.
Cruise control.
That's the one. The Tom Cruise. I didn't set the Tom Cruise.
The cruise control would have prevented this, but unfortunately this is a serious fault for use of speed. On a real marking sheet this would only show up once, and he's already picked up a serious fault for speed. But this is a mock, so you get to know when and where he's made the mistakes. He's also got a bad habit of being 1 or 2 miles over the speed limit.
To 300 yards, turn left, then bear left. Turn left, then bear left. Bear left,
Okay, so the
then
Georgian's further
turn
there.
right.
Okay, thank you.
And then if you could just find somewhere to pull up on the left in a safe place for me, please. Anywhere along here is fine.
There's a few things about
At
this
the
car
end of
that
the road, turn right.
Darren doesn't like, and the brakes is one of them.
Stupid hybrid brakes.
You're not a fan of it, are you?
No, I'm not a fan of it at all. I get it, but I take my foot off and I go, I'm braking already, and I go to press the brakes, and no, not a fan.
It's just balancing it. It's
Getting used to it.
You just got to get used
I
to
normally get used to things quicker than this, so I used to jump from vehicle to vehicle, but this one's just got me a little bit.
it. It's just technology.
Yeah,
And
brilliant.
also,
but awful.
not only that, but you're being watched,
Yeah, yes, by more than you.
which makes it more. Okay, so that's absolutely, it's all fine. Okay, so drive on when you're ready, please.
Darren now has to do a hill start onto a reasonably busy road. He does well here. He does signal before the last car comes past him, but in this instance it's really not a problem, and he had been waiting for a while. He then gets a little bit close to parked cars as he goes past these vehicles here for the speed he's travelling.
At the
Where
end
am
of
I
the
going?
road, turn right.
This is just advisory, it's not a problem, but always be aware of distance to parked cars, especially when it comes to speed. And he again gets a little close to the vehicle in front. But just like the times before, the traffic moves off straight away, so this is just not noteworthy.
Turn right.
Got to admit, being old, the resounding click of the handbrake.
Satisfying, isn't it?
Yeah,
You miss it.
I do. Just, I'm not 100% sure. I have to look at the dashboard and go, parking brake is on.
Something else Darren's not a fan of on this car.
But your car has an electronic handbrake.
It's new. I've drove it for a day and a half.
Okay, so you're not used to it at all.
And the half day was just to try and get better at this. Okay. And then they also do this thing where they tell you got to drive economy.
After 300
Now it's
yards,
just change up my
turn
one. It
left.
doesn't let me change the fifth and third, 30. It's just staying fourth.
Darren is talking, but he's also 1 or 2 miles an hour over the
Whereas
speed
my van
limit.
would go into sixth and just tootle around all day.
Do you know where you're going here?
Yeah, left.
Turn left.
I'm going to put this down as not noteworthy, but this continues. He then does the same thing down this road here. So this will be a driver fault for use of speed.
There's one thing I do like about SatNav. It tells you the speed limit.
Even though he does know the speed limit.
They're not always 100% correct, but especially in Ireland.
At the end of the road, turn right.
That's interesting.
Darren is about to miss that the speed limit is now moving up to 40 miles
Any
an
brave
hour.
bringing somebody through there.
How long have you been driving for?
No, I've been driving for ages, but I wouldn't bring a learner through there. It's metal.
They would have to, though.
I know,
This
but
is on a route.
that is quite funny because it's metal. At least make it plastic.
I think that might defeat the purpose of them. Because he's missed the speed limit, his speed now flips, and instead of driving a little bit too fast, he's driving a little bit too slow. Although he's trying to maintain a 30 mile an hour speed limit, but as usual he's a couple of miles over, so he's doing 32. He doesn't impact anybody behind him, but this is a driver fault for appropriate speed.
So you need some music. I don't like awkward silences. I know we're not on a date,
The thing is, if I talk to you and I distract you, that's the problem, isn't it?
I know.
And this is where his speed now goes against him again, because he's still driving about 32 miles an hour in a 30 zone, and he sustains it for way too long. So this is another driver fault for use of speed.
Just when it's safe to do so, could you put your rear demister on for me, please? That's going to be fun, isn't it?
Yeah, your rear one is not there. No, I can't. Should have done
Bearing in mind this is not your car. Although, what did you say to me at the beginning?
Got it. There we go. I normally do, I just couldn't remember where it was.
After 300 yards, turn left.
I blame Tesla.
You blame Tesla. I blame Apple and turn it off because you don't need it.
Turn left.
I am turning left. Give me a second, we're not at the junction yet.
Darren approaches this junction just a little bit too fast and loses slight control of his steering. He actually slightly crosses the centre line as these vehicles come past. This is borderline a serious fault, but I think he just about gets away with it. So this is just a driver fault for steering. And again, he's driving just slightly above the speed limit.
Look at that ugly car behind us, I'm not sure what it is.
And then when it's safe to do so, if you could just open a side window for me, please. That'll do.
It's quite nice, actually.
I'm just about to ask him to find somewhere to pull up on the left.
And then if we could just find somewhere to pull up on the left in a safe place.
I said I was going to say that, just in case you missed it.
Anywhere along here is fine.
Now, on the day, I marked this as a serious fault. He actually drives off the road and parks just by a building site. In reality, it's not a pavement, and so really, this probably wouldn't be marked as a serious fault. But if you can, keep all four wheels on the road.
All right, we're going to do the emergency stop exercise.
Okay.
I'd like you to bring the car to an immediate and abrupt halt under full control. My signal will be stop.
Yeah.
And I will be making sure it's nice and safe behind us. Do you know, have you done this before? Like, way back, was it the last time you did this in your learner test?
No, last time I did this on my motorbike. We practice this every week, believe it or not.
Okay, so you know what you're doing. I'll move that off there for a second.
And I've now got the cruise control, I think, set. I'm pretty sure now if I press up with it says there, it will set the cruise control.
Okay, so whenever you're ready, drive on.
Yeah, I didn't read the manual.
That's something you forgot to do before you
I
came
forgot to read the focus manual while I was on the plane.
Big mistake.
I was looking at the sun and the sport, and I didn't, no handbrake, and I didn't read the manual, which is a mistake on my part. It's a rookie mistake.
Darren does well here. He does a good emergency stop and good all-round effective observation before driving on.
Now I'm going to ask, that's 60 mile an hour.
I can't answer that question.
No.
But again, coming from Ireland, I kind of feel it's a bit unfair. Now, what I'm going to get you to do is, if you just again find somewhere to pull up on the left in a safe place for me, please. Because I can see, I believe, somebody's coming up. No, fine, just drive on.
Keep going.
Drive on. Yeah, drive on.
Yeah.
And stop. Thank you very much. I won't ask you to do it again. Drive on when it's safe to do so.
Good, because I'm pretty sure all my stuff's gone in the back.
That'll do. Very nicely done. There was a car coming up behind us, but we managed to pull away from them.
At least I thought there was. Darren is now driving in a national speed limit, and I call this the country lane. And he does very well. There's a good balance of progress drive when the road opens up, and then reducing speed accordingly for the bends. And more importantly, he's reading signs. He's aware of what's coming up ahead. This is a good drive. The only thing I'd like to see more of is a bit more mirror work.
I gotta say, I still don't understand why they have 60 mile an hour speed limits when they have driveways. Doesn't make sense.
I agree. However, remember, speed limits are a guideline and not a target. If you notice that there are driveways or junctions
No,
approaching.
I'm not following the sat nav anymore, am I?
No, just follow the road ahead. So I'll be giving you directions as normal, yeah?
That's okay.
Speed should reduce, and he demonstrates this very well. Darren is clearly very used to driving on these kind of roads. He picks up speed well as the road opens up. He now spots a sign for a junction, but he can't see where the junction is.
I can see the sign for the road, but I couldn't see the road.
And again, I like that. He'd come off the gas just to make sure, even though he couldn't see where the junction was, he was ready. And as he approaches this bend, his limit point decreases, and so does his speed. He's demonstrated good use of speed, awareness and planning, and good overall control of the car.
And at the roundabout, which is just around the bend, we're going to be turning left.
And even though his mirror work wasn't that great down that country lane, he checks both mirrors and signals in good time for this roundabout. And then again picks up his speed well. Nicely going through all his gears to improve fuel efficiency. And as he demonstrated before, when he's approaching a bend and his limit point decreases, so does his speed. I've used the term limit point a few times in this video, and just in case you don't know what that means, it's as far as the eye can see with an unobstructed view. A little further up the road, he's entering a dual carriageway, which again is national speed limit, but he gets a bit confused about what the actual speed limit is.
So, we're going to take the first exit on this roundabout. So, at the roundabout, turn left. The first exit first.
I finally get that out, kind of. And after a short pause at this traffic light, we're down the slip road. Darren again picks up speed nicely. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned is he tends to rest his arm by the window. This is not really what you want to be doing if you're taking a Part 2 test. However, what's most important is control of the car, and this he has.
I have to admit, I do want to floor it to see how fast it goes, because it does feel quite nice then, considering it's a small engine.
For a 1 litre, it's got power, isn't it?
Yeah.
Darren got up to speed, but the speed he's doing is 60 miles an hour. This is national speed limit dual carriageway, and he should be hitting 70. He's now changed lanes to the middle lane, and we soon find out why.
No, I'm confused, because I saw this was 2 lanes, but obviously it's not. It's 3. Okay.
The examiner will want to see you get up to speed, and he's simply not driving fast enough.
See, in Ireland, we don't have 3 like this unless it's a motorway. There's nowhere. There's even
Really?
2s. Yeah. There's even a couple of dual carriageways that have a single lane on them.
So this is a driver fault for progress, appropriate speed. He does eventually realise his mistake and picks up speed, and he changes lanes nice and early here for the overtake. Once he's gone past the truck, he moves nicely back to the left-hand side. And then responds well to the new 50 mile an hour speed limit.
They don't give you much warning with them speed signs. You come around the corner and there it is, from 70 to, no, 60 to 50. Just 50 now, okay.
It's hard to disagree with that one. And then a little further up the road, he's following the road ahead at the Stirling Corner roundabout. On this roundabout, his lane discipline is a bit sloppy, and I would have expected him to remain in his lane. Even though there's nobody behind him, this is a driver fault for lane discipline. His following distance to the van in front is also a little bit close, but he moves out to the middle lane for the overtake.
ULEZ, is that something to do with the emissions?
It is. They've extended it all the way out. Okay, so at the roundabout, we're going to turn left.
This is a nice and easy one at the apex corner, left first exit. He's in lane, nice and early, and does well. The next roundabout, however, is a little bit more tricky.
And then for your advanced planning at the roundabout, we're going to be turning right third exit.
I should be saying approximately how far ahead that is, but Darren kind of deals with it and works it out.
I'm not sure where that roundabout is, but...
It's just about
oh, I see it.
400 yards.
Yeah, it's a sign.
Darren moves for the overtake, and this also positions him well for the roundabout. His mirror work is good here. He spots the motorbike coming through. This roundabout is not a spiral, but he does well. He holds his position in the right-hand lane, and even though there's this build-up of traffic in the middle, he holds, waits for it to move, and then moves in behind this black car. He gets a little close, but then he backs off and exits the roundabout.
Pizza delivery guy's got death wish or something.
It's a tough job, isn't it?
Oh yeah, free pizza and a free motorbike. Sounds like a real tough job.
Well, I'm talking about getting to destinations quickly.
He's now slightly distracted and gets caught out by this pedestrian crossing up ahead. The light turns on him at the last second and he brakes quite sharply.
Come on, Mr. Van, we'll let you out as well, sir. Thank you, Mr. Pedestrian.
I think somebody just pressed it and walked off.
He pressed it and walked across because I let everybody else out.
He has stopped beyond the stop line, however he's not interfering with the pedestrian crossing itself. There was also no one behind him. This is a driver fault for response to traffic lights. Darren drives easily through the rest of this high street, and after a few junctions we find ourselves approaching the final manoeuvre of this mock test, the reverse parallel park.
So basically you have to drive around all of these in second gear. That drives me nuts.
What gear would you normally use?
Well, in my van I'd be in third easily, but when you go in this slow...
And then we're just going to pull up just before... I'm not sure where this guy's going. Just before the blue car.
Okay.
If you can. Leave about a car length of space. That'll do. Okay. And then we're going to do the reverse parallel park on that vehicle there. If you like, just pull up next to it.
On this one here?
Yes. And then reverse the car back in, finishing off reasonably close to you, parallel to the curb. Within 2 car lengths of space, so a little bit less space than what you're giving now. So in this instance, if you do pause or stop in front of that driveway, it's not a problem. Okay?
Perfect. Right.
Whenever you're ready.
Darren is coming towards the end of the test. I guess it's been a long drive, and this is one of the last things he's going to have to do. And he doesn't quite pull this off. He again struggles to find reverse gear, sticking it back into 6. It's not a major issue. And again, it's not his car. If he was doing a part 2 test, he'd probably normally be using his own car.
I left you enough space to get round, just about. Thank you very much. Again. You got something you lift? Oh, you lift that one. Okay. That's what happened last time. Got ya.
Stuff like that can be a distraction. There are 3 issues here. He doesn't check his blind spot as the car swings out or before he moves off, and there's a pedestrian on the pavement which I'm unsure he's aware of.
If you've got sensors on the front, there had to be.
There are sensors.
Yeah. That scared the hell out of me the first time that happened in my car.
But this doesn't demonstrate effective observation. which you would expect from a trainee driving instructor, or certainly a qualified one. So this is a serious fault for observations on the parallel park.
That'll do. Yeah, happy with that?
I'm happy it's close enough.
Okay, so if you drive on, it's fine. Drive on when you're ready.
I swear, every time I look down to grab the handbrake.
We now literally just drive around the corner, and that is the end of the test.
That'll do. That will do. Switch your engine off. Okay. You can now relax.
You reckon?
So when I'm doing the mock, so I mean certainly a part 2 mock, I don't want to be the cause or the responsibility of distracting you to a point where you're going to make a silly mistake.
Yeah.
So the examiner will talk to you. Some of them will chat more, some will not say anything. I mean, it's just the way it is. It's the luck of the draw. You never know what you're going to get, to be honest. I think you would feel more comfortable with somebody that was talking to you.
A little bit, maybe not. It's hard. I'm tired. I've only been driving just under an hour, you know. So
it's exhausting, but it's not just the drive. It's that nervous energy that comes with it. And I really do think that you hold it together very well. I mean, you don't come across as somebody who's a nervous character.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter what you like. I think when it comes to this, there's always going to be pressure. There's always going to make you tense. So getting in environments like this as much as possible is only going to help you when it comes to that part 2 test. And we talk about driving test nerves. You imagine what it's like for your learner drivers when they go for their test, and you can see it. You could go online, you'll see driving test nerves. There's so much content on it. And we understand, because the amount of pressure, especially if you do have that 3 strikes and you're out, that's pressure, right? You mess up the first one, you've got 2 left. Oh my God, I've messed this one up. Then you're on your last attempt. Can you imagine, right? You're on that last attempt. That's incredibly nerve-wracking. So it's totally normal, and I would look at it as part of the learning process. You've got to be able to function under pressure. Do I need to ask you whether that's a pass or a fail?
Oh, I think that's a fail every time.
Okay. Do you want to tell me why you think that's a fail?
The wrong gear twice. I mean, come on. That was terrible. That's something that I have done in ages.
So
and I can't blame it on the car.
On wrong gear twice?
Reverse. I missed reverse twice.
Okay.
That's...
I would say one saving grace is, and I said this, and this is not your car. This is not the car.
Yeah, not so much. I mean, the only difference between your car and my car in this instance is I have a little clip that I felt for to lift up to go to reverse. And when I felt the little ridge, in my brains it's going, that's gone up and you're in reverse. But I should have felt where the gear stick was. That's a rookie mistake. That's something I very rarely do. I put that down to nerves and not knowing the car, but more nerves.
You've come into this today. You've had no training sessions.
None
you watched videos, and I don't know whether I said that at the beginning. Like, you know, what level of training have you done? You've come into doing a part 2. I would say even an ADI, somebody who's qualified. I don't know if you call them ADIs in Ireland.
Yeah, badge driving instructor.
Approved driving instructor, who's going to come and sit a part 2 test. I would expect them to do some sort of training, whether it's self-training or to have gone for a training session prior to going in to sit in a part 2 test. So yes, I think what you've done here today, I think is very brave. And I think that has to be taken into consideration when we talk about this. You are right at the beginning of your training. And in fact, it hasn't even started. In fact, today is the first time it started.
Yeah.
And it started with a mock test. You haven't done any?
No.
So I'm going to put that out there.
In my head, I've done some, and I've done some practicing a little bit, but not as much as I'm going to be doing.
Other caveats, not driving this car. That's definitely a big factor. And a massive one, you do all your driving in Ireland.
Yeah, well, I mean, driving's driving. I was driving in Croatia before this. I was driving in Paphos before this. Driving is driving.
Yeah, but you're not doing a high-level test in Paphos.
Yeah, I know, but...
You've come to sit a high-level test here.
My biggest nerves were speed.
Okay. Well, speed is one of your big problems.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest issues that you've got here today, actually. Sitting on my keys.
Every time I looked at the speedo, I'm 10% over, and I'm like, I'm not pushing the pedal that much. It's
yeah.
You know.
Well, we're going to talk about that because there's stuff that you need to do. You got a serious fault. I'm going to go through that. You got a serious fault for speeding right at the beginning. So everything else you did afterwards, yes, would be marked possibly that you're doing constantly speeding, and you would have got an accumulation fault for speeding. But I can only give you one. Now, you did twice well over the speed limit.
how much? What we're talking,
Well,
30s to 36.
When we came out onto that road there, you thought it was a 30.
Yeah,
It was a 20.
The one where I looked left, it said 30, and looked right, and looked 30.
Yeah, so the very first junction, not in this area, we came out,
Yeah.
we were turning right, that's a 20.
Okay.
And you thought it was 30. So
Yeah.
you just picked up your speed to close to 30 miles an hour as in a 20.
Right. Okay.
Could have protected you really at that stage, but it wasn't for very long. There was a sign there, we went straight back into a 30. So,
So that was the one where there's a sign left that says 30, and as I turned right, because I said there's a sign there that's 30, and I turned right, and then there was another sign that was 30, but in between that was 20. Is that that would be?
So you were looking in the new road for the sign. So those signs. So the way it works is it's 30 from that
from
sign
the sign.
onwards.
Yeah.
So that was a 20.
See, I didn't realise that between them two signs there'd be a 20.
And as you
Got it.
exited the road, it said 20. Not
Yeah,
just on it.
that's
20.
definitely an Irish thing, because we
So
don't
look-
have that. We don't have that 20. It's very hard to get used to that 20. That was the one that I was just kind of going.
Well, this is all going to be part of your homework.
Yeah.
Because this is what you're going to be getting. So yes, speeding. Now the second time were just after we did the Mill Circus, which you were very lucky. I've got to be honest, that's a horrible roundabout. I thought you did really well. You were lucky there was nobody
was
there.
empty.
You did well.
It was empty.
That road thereafter is a 30, and you got up to 35 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You just didn't know. You just don't know the speed limits.
No, I knew the speed limit. I didn't realise I was going that fast.
Okay.
So that's the thing. You're going about speeding. So I'm so used to driving in rural areas. 30 mile an hour is very rare. There's 2 minutes from my house, it becomes, it's 50 kilometres an hour. 2 minutes from my house, it's 60, then it's 80. And then you get up the road and there's a 30 for 200 metres, and they're really clearly signed. So you're very rarely doing 30 mile an hour. And I find it really hard to, it's something I was trying to practice, but I find it really hard to be that slow and go up into the gears, and then I'm in fourth gear and also I'm doing 35, 36, 37. And I'm like, okay, I've got to slow down. And it's something that I know I've got to work on, because I saw myself do it over and over again when I was practicing.
Well, there's two things connected with this. Number one is signs, because you're missing them.
Yeah.
Okay. The second thing is driving away where you're constantly monitoring your speed. So what you've got to use, so that video, that commentary driving video I did, you would need to use that quite extensively, that technique, in order to monitor the areas that you're struggling with. And then every time you find yourself in a particular problem, you then add that in. On the flip side, okay, before I get into those other things there, let's talk about, because we're talking about speed. On the flip side, you've got appropriate speed, so you're not driving fast enough in some places.
I know where you're going to say this one. This is doing 50 and a 60.
No, you were doing 60 and a 70, so it was on the dual carriageway.
Yeah,
you then
that one I
realised
missed the sign,
you must have known it was national speed limit, because you were doing 60.
See, yeah, that's what I did.
You knew it was national speed limit. You were doing 60 miles an hour.
That's where I got confused. So I was going national speed limit, and that's again rules of here to maybe home. National speed limit, I'm going right. In my mind, we're on a dual carriageway. It's not a motorway. Is it 60 or 70? So I went, I can't see a sign for it. I'm going to stick with the 60. And then I looked at the sat nav, and the sat nav says 60. And I went, I'm going to stick with the 60 until I know different. Because again, I'm trying not to speed.
So why did you then pick up your speed to 70?
Because I saw the 70. There was a 70 sign.
A 70 sign?
I'm sure there was a 70 sign. That's why I would have picked it
I
up.
don't think there is. There's no 70 sign.
I'm sure
70 sign doesn't exist. It's national speed limit. You'll just see a national speed limit. You did realise, so I only drive...
Oh no, I saw 70 on the sat nav then.
You must have seen it on the
Yeah, I
sat
must have
nav.
seen it on the sat nav. But that's when I went, oh, okay, you've gone up to speed. I'm like...
So the rule in the UK is really simple. You see a national speed limit sign on a single carriageway, speed limit is...
60.
60. The moment you're on a dual carriageway or motorway, it
It's
becomes 70.
Yeah.
Now, again, so this comes down to the fact that you don't drive in the UK that often, so you're likely to mess stuff up like that. Okay.
Yeah, that's...
The other time was you were driving 30, I'm going to say 32 because you always speed. So you thought you were doing 30, but you're doing 32. We turned right. It was just before I asked you the show me, tell me question. That section of road there, it's 40. So we go through the width restriction, we turn right. That section there is 40.
Okay.
But you didn't know. You were just hovering around 30. So again, it comes back to signs.
Yeah.
And you were just doing 30. You didn't impact anybody. I just give you a driver fault because you should be picking up your speed. It should be getting up to speed. You shouldn't be doing 30 miles an hour, or what you thought was 30. Anyway.
Trying not to speed and still speeding.
Still speeding, yeah. Okay, we talk about serious. Okay, now I think you know which one is the big serious. Was that in the car park?
Yeah, the gears.
Yeah,
No,
cars
plus.
lurch forwards. I've had to use the dual controls.
Yeah.
I've gone for dual, and I think I've hit it probably about the same time, or maybe even just before you, to stop us going through that hedge. So that would have been obviously a serious fault for gears. And then position normal stops. I said on the road, I said find somewhere to pull up on the left. Again, the country lane, again, you're not used to this, right? Is there any sign to indicate that you couldn't stop on that country lane? You found yourself a driveway right next to a building site, and you just pulled up off the road.
Yeah. No, that I saw.
That's not a driveway, technically.
Yeah, I didn't.
It's not a lay-by, which is kind of... There are a couple of lay-bys down there which you can actually pull into and off the road.
Okay.
But there was no need to come off the road there. Was there any sign to say, or anything to indicate that you couldn't pull up on the left along there?
No, I just wanted to get out of the way and leave as much room as I could for traffic coming up and down.
Which is a nice thing to do, but we're allowed to stop there.
Yeah, but just from the fact that it's quite a quick road, I basically looked for a straight bit.
That was a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit road.
But I went straight, and then I went, it's a straight bit, I can pull up here, and then I went, well, I might as well get out the way completely. That's the only thing. It's old school.
I like the thought process, but I would imagine they're going to want to see all four wheels on the road.
Okay.
Yes?
Yeah, it's something that's
Unless
something I would
they
have thought.
stipulate otherwise.
Yeah.
So sometimes you drive down the road and say, see that car over there, hasn't got all four wheels on the road. If there were loads of cars down here that were parked like that, the examiner probably would say to you, find somewhere to pull up on the left. They would expect to see all four wheels on the road. If you then went off the road, they might then say, well, actually, there's loads of cars around here which have not got their wheels all on the road. What I meant was keep all four wheels on the road.
Yeah.
So they might let that go. This one, I don't think you really hurt anybody or interfered in. We were just right off the road, and I can see why you're doing it, but we shouldn't be there. We should have been on the road.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's a silly one.
Yeah,
really.
but that's an interesting one to know. That's from
Keep
not training. It's
all
quite cool.
four wheels on the road if you can. So I mean, that's not a pavement though.
No, there was
So
nobody walking. I wasn't blocking anybody.
I could be being a little bit harsh on that one. Okay, certainly if it's pavement.
Yeah, my thought is
do
this is the old school thought. You don't block the pavement because somebody can't get past. You don't drive on the pavement. But with that one, it was just a case of I'm out of the way. That building site's not being used. The gate's not open. It's locked. It's a nice straight road, and I'll give it lots of room. That was pretty much the thought behind it. But it's an interesting one.
The reverse parallel park. I don't care about the curb. You did touch the curb. I could driver fault you for control on that. But the reverse parallel park, you had a pedestrian walking along here, which I didn't know whether you knew they were there. You didn't check over your right shoulder as the car swung out, which is kind of an essential thing that you need to be doing as the car swings out on the...
Yes, the car swings. Okay, yeah.
And it's just that general awareness on that right-hand side, the bright blind spot. You've got to be checking that to make sure. Yeah. So for that
my mirrors too much, don't I, instead of using my head?
A little bit. Yeah. You've got to be checking that right blind spot. I normally start off with positives, actually.
And
I
thanks.
I didn't
mate.
do that today for whatever reason. No, I mean, look, I like it. You can clearly drive. There's a slight... you asked the question of, like, is this for you? Yes, it can be for you. Absolutely, this can be for you. You've got to do some training.
Yeah.
You haven't done any.
I don't expect to do no training.
Yeah.
That's not something I expect. I expect to do training.
If you do the training and then you put it into, or you can self-teach. There is a wealth of information out there. But I certainly would want to sort of get it checked by somebody to make sure that I'm moving in the right direction.
I intend to do a hybrid version.
I hope that you've got some value out of this video. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and I will see you in the next one.
Don't drive like Daz.
Give him some love in the comments, because I really do. He's come from Ireland, he's not done any training, he's doing a part 2 test. I think that's incredibly brave. I think that's really incredibly brave. Give him some love in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.
It was fun.
Get well out.